is practice blowing the whistle. So grab your whistle. When you're handling, you want the whistle in your hand so that you can blow instantly. So if they start to veer off the line and you can't find your whistle, get to your whistle enough, and now he's way over here, it's harder to get him back on the line. So if you stop him when he's just going offline, it's a lot easier to get the cast and get him to the bird on a blind retrieve. Are you familiar with any handling at all?
Just what I've watched out of Ben and
Okay.
Swampy or Trouble or...
Okay, so you always want to stop the whistle with your tongue. So when you blow it, and if he's at a long distance, you're going to have to blow harder to get a lot of lung. So I'm not going to face you because I don't want to blow out your ears, but this is a long distance blow is long. So you're going to have to practice blowing in that whistle a lot to get a good, otherwise you'll never get him to stop with the whistle, although he's trained now with the tone also of the collar.
The green button.
So if you can't blow your whistle loud enough to get to the distance that he is, then it's the green button. And it's just a real quick hit it, and then he sits and looks at you. So don't accidentally hit the wrong button. Make sure you have your finger on that green button, the very top one,
Right.
which it feels differently, you know.
Yeah, this one's...
You have it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so practice the whistle at home today. That was a lot better. That was a lot better. Don't blow it in her ears though, because it's loud. So now the come-in whistle. Go that way. Yeah, that's good. But it could be, a little more punch to it.
Just more.
Now if he's close by you, it's just a real quick. Yeah, maybe just a little bit more punch to it.
Okay.
But yeah, so close up whistle. Are you hunting a lot in running water, swimming water, or land?
Pond water, rice fields.
So that's running water then?
No, it's just pond.
So it's all swimming?
No, it's that deep.
It's lunging water.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the hardest place for them to hear you, is lunging water. So if you think that he's close, you may need a bigger whistle because it's lunging water and they're splashing and they're breathing, and it's the hardest place for them to hear you. Swimming water is really easy for them to hear, and land is the easiest is swimming water, and then land is the next easiest. Running water, lunging water is the hardest. So
gotta be louder in it.
Yeah, you need to be louder in it. Yeah. Okay. So now the cast. So when I'm casting, I have my whistle in my hand, like this. And are you in a position like can you get up out of your blind to run him on a bird that he didn't see, which is called a blind retrieve?
Am I in a position to do it?
Yeah, can you get up? Like I know Ben has a hard time sometimes getting up out of the...
Yeah, he does it though. I've watched him.
He gets up out?
He can get out.
Okay. And
Well,
remember,
you have to, because the grass and stuff around the blind a lot of times you're pretty hidden.
Yeah.
You got to stand up so the dog can actually see you above the grass.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then remember when you're in your camouflage, your camouflage so animals can't see you. So the dogs can't see you as well either.
Okay.
So you need to have a lot of movement every time you're casting.
Right.
So movement, back cast, big movement, back cast, and big movement, overcast. Because you're in camouflage and they can see the shadow more than the cast, because you're harder to see. Where in trials we wear white, or hunt tests they wear black, because they can see black and white very well. But hunting, they can't see you guys very well.
Right.
So always give him the benefit of the doubt. If he's not taking the right cast, he may not be able to see you very well because you're in camouflage. Just stop him instantly as soon as you see that he's not taking the right cast, which tells him, no, that's not the right direction. And then try the cast again, maybe with a little more movement. Does that make sense?
But for a straight back movement, it's just straight up.
Well, if he's running a straight line and you stop him and give him a straight up, then you're putting him right back on the same line.
Okay.
So most of the time you just need a little bit of line change, which is a movement, which turns them off that line and then puts them on just a little bit different line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or 45, puts them in a 45-degree angle off of you, or straight over. So those are those are all the casts. And we're going to do a drill that I want you to work with a lot with him to get you used to casting and get him used to working with you, and to get him where he's taking the casts even better, because he's still young, new at it. You know, he still needs a lot more practice on all the casts. Along with you need the practice, and he needs the practice to work with you. So this is a drill that we'll do that is going to be perfect for you to do every day. You can't do too much of it. It gets him and you working together. So, but right now let's just practice the cast. So if you want to give a straight up cast, step and get straight up. Your arm, yeah, that's good. Now move your arm a little bit slower. He might be able to see you a little more. Go ahead and practice that again. Good, that's good. Okay, now over. That's a 45. So over, yeah, perfect. And have your hand out, gives you a little more surface. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, perfect.
That's straight out?
And then out, yeah, straight out. Yeah, that last one was perfect. Your arm first time was a little bit high.
All right.
So if you want to over, make sure it's low enough and your palm out.
Okay.
Same with the back cast, palm out.
That's...
Gives them a little more to see. I don't know if you wear gloves.
Not usually.
Okay, so if you do wear gloves, if you can find a glove with a black hand, or a white hand would be even better.
Okay.
Camouflage glove with a black hand,
right,
or white hand. Then that gives him a lot more to see. Can see you a lot better. And again, depending on your background, if it's a foggy morning, that black glove is going to stand out really nicely.
Right.
If it's a white glove, it ain't going to stand out in the fog.
Sure.
If you have dark trees in your background,
a white
glove is going to stand out.
Absolutely.
So, so that's also some things to think about. So, looks like you got the cast well. So now another thing is when you stop him, get him to sit. A lot of new people sit him and then cast. Well, it teaches them not to watch your cast when you do that. So if you sit him, wait, count 1001, 1002, 1003, and then give him a cast. You'll get a lot better cast. It gives him a chance to sit and look at you, focus on you, and figure out what he's doing. So, and then teaches them to sit there and watch your cast better, rather than just reacting on sit, move. So make sure that you go slow with your cast whenever you sit them. You'll get a lot better cast. Okay.
And if you're in a position where the dog can actually still hear you some, like when you give them the back, I mean, you verbally say back too, or should you not?
When you verbally say back, it has a tendency to drive them back and drive them on a different line. Verbal does.
So try not to be verbal with it then.
Yeah, I do more silent casts than verbal casts.
Okay.
Now, if you want to cast him, you need a skinny cast. So like for instance, he's running from here to the light post, and he starts to veer off to the left, and you have a wind that he just faded into the wind. Most of the time, they're fading downwind. If he, for some reason, faded into the wind, and you need a skinny cast, then a verbal drives them more straight back. Now, if he faded downwind, definitely don't give a verbal. You need a lot of line change, and it's hard for dogs to cast into the wind, so you want to give a silent.
Okay.
So to get more line change. The silent gives you more of the cast. A verbal gives you more of a drive back. Straight drive.
And what about the verbal over? Does that?
No, I don't do any verbal over. Unless for some reason he can't see you and he's not moving.
I've just caught Ben a lot of times, like, you know, Swampy will be looking. Probably Swampy can't even hear him because it's a little windy or something. But yeah. Ben will be like this. He'll be over. And
yeah. No, verbal
it's probably not doing much, but
yeah.
You still
videoing? Yeah. Yeah. Verbal just drives them back, and they don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't teach any of my dogs verbal over, because verbal drives back.
Okay.
So now, being young, if he gets confused, you know, he's sitting there like, what do you need? And you try to cast him a couple times, you know, just keep your arm out. If he's not sitting there, let him think about it. Give him a chance to get up on his own and go that way. He doesn't have a tendency to do that, but just in case, you never know. Now, if he's still sitting there and you got no other option, then say over, just to get him up off his feet. And then you're probably going to have to stop him again right away and then try to give another cast over. Does that make sense?
Camo, no.
Verbal would be last